Ori and the Blind Forest is pure magic. Games like this aren't too common. You know the ones that remind you why you love video games in the first place. Ones that take you by surprise and come from unexpected places. Ones that you barely feel like you have a right to criticize because they're just that good. The ones that are pure magic. I don't think I've played enough games to really pin down what my favorite game of all time is, but if I ever did make one, I'm sure Ori and the Blind Forest would be at least in the top 3. So let's get into it. Ori and the Blind Forest is a platformer Metroidvania game developed by Moon Studios, owned by Microsoft. We start the game with a touching story that tells us 2 main things. 1. This is a very emotional game with storytelling that can make the Grinch cry. 2.
Damn, does this game have graphics.
Ori's graphics are the most beautiful thing about it, and it deserves all the praise it gets. But that's what everyone says. It's the only thing they say.
Ori is presented in a beautiful watercolor art style.
Gorgeous scenes at the start.
It's a beautifully looking game.
A gorgeous world.
Delivers stunningly pretty art, a sweet, beautifully hand-drawn world that isn't.
But what about the game behind the pretty colors? Flow. That's the best way to describe the controls. You know you've made a good game when it feels good to walk forward, when it feels good to jump, when it feels good to change direction. And Ori takes all of those fuzzy strands of good mechanics yarn and weaves them into a cohesive blanket that makes you want to stay wrapped up forever. Metaphors are fun, aren't they? Every mechanic works beautifully, even the new dash and light burst ability added in the definitive edition. But enough with the macro look at everything, time to get specific. I mentioned earlier that the opening cutscene was sad, but jeez. With Nehru gone, Ori is hungry, alone, falls down a slope, and dies. Psych! The magic of the Spirit Tree revives Ori, and then the game really begins. Ori is a Metroidvania, meaning you don't have all your moves right away. Walking to the left, the first new move Ori gets is the Spirit Flame, along with Sane. And don't you dare start an argument in the comments about how that's pronounced, it really doesn't matter, I'm just gonna call it Sane, okay? Good, thank you. Sane is Ori's companion, and not much else. I mean, look at the character design. It's a ball that glows and floats. Riveting. And before we move forward, I just need to get this off my chest. Most enemies, combat sucks. Especially when you have only one move, the Spirit Flame. All you do is mash the attack button, Sane aims for you, and you try to move out of the way. Now this isn't necessarily bad, but it's so boring and tedious and uninteresting. If you didn't get new moves that remedied this problem, I would be dreading every encounter with any enemy. The next move you get is the wall jump, allowing you to climb up walls and jump from wall to wall. Thankfully, it's nowhere near as broken as Super Metroid's wall jump, and timing the jumps right helps add to the rhythm and flow that the game has. We then meet the Spirit Tree and get some idea of what is going on. The Sowell Kuro hated that the Spirit Tree was partying too hard, so she took Sane and dropped them in a ditch. To restore the power of the Spirit Tree and bring balance to Nibel, we must collect the 3 elemental MacGuffins and probably defeat Kuro along the way. The first area we get to is the Ginso Tree, to restore the element of waters, because right now, all the water is just flat grape soda that's so old touching it makes you die. We learn the Charge Flame along the way, and it's an easier way to defeat enemies, thank the Spirit Tree! But there's a catch. You sacrifice a bit of your soul every time you use it. You can get it back with energy crystals and spirit wells, but still. Anyway, we get to the Ginso Tree and find the element key to the entrance is being stolen by a spider monkey? A spider monkey? Spider monkey. His name is Gumo, and he traps us in his lair and we have to find a way out. We learn the double jump along the way, which helps, but not nearly as much as a hidden ability that's only in the Definitive Edition, the dash. On its own, it can only make you go a little faster on horizontal sections. Once you get the upgrade that lets you dash in midair, the world is your playground. It breaks progression a little bit, but not a lot. I think it might have been meant to be used this way, as a little reward for people who got the Definitive Edition and spent the extra time getting the ability. Anyway, the battle with Gumo climaxes within a landslide that traps Gumo. Ori saves him because Ori's the best, and Gumo gives Ori the key to the Ginso tree. After some tricky platforming, we get introduced to an ability that I've never seen anywhere else. Like the double jump and wall jump are both staples of Metroidvania games, but the bash is completely new. What it does is allow you to freeze time for a little bit when next to an enemy or projectile. You take your aim, and you go hurtling in a direction, while whatever you bashed goes in the opposite direction. This is the ability that saves the entire combat system. Don't want to fight an enemy? Just bash away. Are there spikes near you? Bash the enemy into them. And that's not even mentioning what it does for platforming. This ability allows you to dance through the air, whizzing by enemies so fast it's insane. And the way this ability is taught is brilliant. Many people have made other videos on the subject, so I'll lay off on the really good level design. And this ability really shows its potential in my favorite part of the game, the Ginso Tree escape. Everything flows, everything meshes, everything comes together to make something amazing. The music is the best song on the soundtrack, the atmosphere is terrifying, and it finally ends with this beautiful moment. It's a shame that the best part of the game happens before the halfway point, but when the bar is set this high, it would have been a colossal challenge to one-up this masterpiece of a sequence. This really should be the finale. Not the finale of the game, though. Just this video.